there, it's Tiara, and today I really want to talk about Call Me By Your Name. I have a lot of strong emotions and thoughts and opinions on a lot of things, especially books and movies, but I have no one to talk about them to, which is why you're here, having a tea with tea. Oh, warning, spoilers ahead, obviously. This story revolves around two gay Jewish men named Elio and Oliver, Elio being the younger of the two. They happen to meet one summer in a small town in Italy, and the story is much more deeper than that, but I am terrible at retelling stories, so I'm asking you to research about the story by yourself because I honestly am the worst. First of all, the book is amazing. If you are someone who loves to read books, I highly recommend getting this book. Honestly, it'll change your life, but if you are someone who's not that fond of books, I don't recommend this being your first read. The thing about the book that stood out to me against other books that I've read is the story flow. Although the 4 chapters are in chronological order, I don't see the entirety of the book having a forwards flow or a backwards flow or both flows. I see the book having a flow of memories, if that makes sense. Because if you first read the book, the timeline might seem a little bit jumbled and all over the place, but as I read into it, it struck to me that it's Elio retelling the most memorable moments he had with Oliver, and I think that's beautiful and genius of Andre to do. With the forwards flow, it's like you're following a tour guide through a beautiful garden and them explaining everything thoroughly, but with this book, you're venturing into a beautiful garden by yourself, enjoying bits and pieces as you go through it, in which this garden being Elio's mind and Elio's memories with Oliver. Another thing that I love about the book is Andre's writing. The words and sentences he uses are so sophisticated and refined and poetic. There's a lot of intelligent metaphors and references, and you can tell that Andre is a very wise and knowledgeable man from the way he wrote this book. The way the book is written, with long sentences but brief paragraphs, gets you more and more absorbed into the story. You have to reread a lot of sentences to fully understand it, but it just gets you more in depth into the story, and I love that. Another thing, the characterization is amazing. Elio is my favorite character ever. He's young, he's only 17, but yet he's so mature, and you get to see him become more and more mature throughout the book, but then he still has this touch of childlike curiosity and a youthfulness to him that just brings his character to life. He has this very youthful appearance, but with a mind as broad as the horizon takes you. Oh, also, one thing about Oliver, you just can't help but fall in love with him. Going on to point number 2, why the book is superior to the movie. Main point being the book made me cry way more than the movie. In the movie, they don't really delve that deep into chapters 3 and 4. Those last 2 chapters are the ones that make your heart fall deeper and deeper in love, but it's also what makes your heart break harder and worse and way more. Chapter 3 is about this trip that Elio and Oliver has before Oliver returns to the United States. Honestly, in the book, you get to experience how truly in love they are, how they're so intoxicated with each other. It just breaks your heart knowing that they're gonna separate sooner or later. And chapter 4, oh god, chapter 4. It's basically about the time after Oliver. It's truly heart-crushing. In the movie, for the last chapter, you only get to see the part where Oliver is calling Elio to tell him that he's gotten engaged and is going to marry a woman, and then you see Elio's heart being broken and then him filled with so much sorrow, and that's where it ends. But in the book, it goes so much further than that. It goes 5 years later, it goes 10 years later, it goes 15 years later, and you can see that they both still care so much about each other, but they can't be together. And oh god, it hurts. If you have watched the movie but haven't read the book, at least just read chapter 4. If you feel like crying a little bit more, well, maybe a lot more. Also, a minor thing, they didn't put this one character from the book into the movie. I forgot her name, but basically she's this young genius girl who has leukemia. She becomes best friends with Oliver over the summer, and she was the one who said to Elio, Oliver liked him, maybe even more than he liked Oliver. And I really liked that line in the book. In the movie, they made Elio's mother say that line. Last point is about the movie. I enjoyed the movie so much. I still cried watching it even though I know how the story goes. It met all my expectations. I love it because it stayed so true to the book. They didn't change that much of it, especially the dialogue, and I think it was portrayed beautifully. I can't stress enough how much I absolutely adored the cinematography for this film. And it was an indie movie, so there's no like high budget sets or equipment or crew or anything, which is why I like it even more. I especially loved the scenes where it was just a long one shot. It just made the moments and overall the story so much more natural, and it flows so well, and it just matches the overall aesthetic of the story itself. The casting for this movie was also impeccable. They couldn't have casted a more perfect actor for Elio. Timothy was seriously the best person they could have picked. He's new, he's exciting, he's fresh, and his acting was superb. The last scene where Elio found out that Oliver was engaged, and then he just walked to his fireplace and he stared at the crackling fire and he just started crying. I don't know, that scene was so powerful to me, and it broke my heart. A scene that wasn't in the book was the farewell scene between Elio and Oliver. Holy shit! Oh my god, my tears were continuously rolling. And then they just hugged each other, saying absolutely no words. And when Oliver was about to let go, Elio just couldn't let go of him, and he just clung to Oliver's back, and eventually they had to let each other go. Then it cuts to Elio calling his mother, asking her to pick him up on the train station, and he was crying, and it was so emotional. So in conclusion, as usual, the book is better than the movie, and I always suggest for you to read the book first. But you know, all things aside, Call Me By Your Name is an amazing story created by Andre, and I think everyone should know this story. That's it. That's my thoughts on Call Me By Your Name. This has been the first ever Tea with Tea, and I hope you're here to listen to my next one. Later!